They announced today that they're pursuing a judicial review against the federal government over the Emergencies Act. The group says the Emergencies Act is expansive, so it's not targeted, they say, and that it is equally applied across the entire country while placing restrictions on every Canadian's constitutional rights. Here with more on the review is Noa Mendelsohn Aviv. I believe I said that all right, all correctly, Noa, the executive director of the CCLA. Noa, thank you so much for joining us. You had this announcement today, but I want to start off by pointing out Bob Fife from the Globe and Mail. He was just on our show and says he's not quite sure this Emergency Measures Act was necessary when you consider debate still going on in the House and enforcement is underway right now. Let's talk about this judicial review and some of the grounds for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what we also heard Bob Fife say is that police have the powers that they need to enforce measures, right? To enforce the Highway Traffic Act, which already existed, which said that people can't block roads and highways and streets. And police already had the power to arrest people who might be engaged in some of the really hard acts that we've heard about that have affected all sorts of communities, and in particular racialized and marginalized communities. And we have heard about those kinds of incidents from some of the protesters. But police have had those powers all along, and they continue to have those powers, and they seem to now be using them. So if that's what it was about, it's still not clear where the Emergencies Act comes in, except that emergency powers are only supposed to be used in a serious national emergency that threatens the lives and health and safety or sovereignty of people of Canadians, of people in Canada, or of Canada itself, and where there are no other laws that can address it.
So if that's the definition, Noa, I guess why does this not fall under that definition? Why is this situation in Ottawa, the situation we saw at the Ambassador Bridge in Windsor over the weekend, why does this not qualify for the Emergencies Act to be used?
No, that's a fair question. I mean, we actually know as a matter of fact that they cleared the Ambassador Bridge without using emergency powers. They did it using existing laws. We know that police forces bringing in additional police officers is possible under existing laws. Arrests are possible under existing laws. Telling people that they have to move their trucks is possible under existing laws. So not only do governments regularly have to deal with complex and really difficult situations, but in this case, if it comes down to a policing issue, we have police laws, and those police acts are created by democratically elected representatives in fair, safe, transparent, accountable processes where the representatives decide how they're going to set up police powers. There should be some kind of opportunity for the public to weigh in about whether it meets the needs of Canadians in terms of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. That's what democracy is supposed to assure us. When you use something like an Emergencies Act, what the government is doing is it's saying, under the terms of this act, we're going to give ourselves the powers to create new laws, new orders, without having to go through the ordinary democratic process. That's what's so concerning. That's why the bar is set so high in the Emergencies Act itself.
But no, there is debate underway in the House of Commons. This is subject to debate. I guess what I'm getting at is what steps are being skipped here?
The debate is happening after the fact, right? They announced an emergency, and it's understandable, right? If you had a real national emergency, if you had massive flooding or Canada went to war, then government has to say, look, we're suspending democracy. We're going to pass the orders that we need to. We're going to do what we have to do to keep people safe. And within 7 days, Parliament's going to look back and say, was that okay? And is it okay ongoing? But here what's happened is they've declared an emergency. They're freezing people's bank accounts. They've banned protest all across the country if it would reasonably expect it to lead to a breach of the peace as defined in the order. But they've banned protest all across the country, not just limited to Ottawa, not just limited to the Ambassador Bridge, which in any case was already cleared without the use of the emergency orders. And they've done all this. And then after the fact, they're going to say, oh, so we turned over all your financial information to CSIS and the RCMP. Parliament's not approving it. So to say that they're following the requirements of the Act, they're following the requirements of the Act for something that is a national emergency. But we say This does not meet the definition of national emergency as set out on the terms of the Emergencies Act itself.
Noa, thank
you.
you
And the
so
after-the-fact review is problematic. Thanks very much.
Oh, no, thank you. I want to let you finish your sentence. We know that there's people that feel strongly about what you're saying. Of course, it's a very strong measure, and the goal of your organization is to protect people's civil liberties. So thank you so much for sharing with us the action you're taking. We appreciate it.
Thank you.